evaluation because we're going to get us back on track evaluation. So first up in my evaluated order, I have Ted.
Madam Chair, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and especially Stephen. Stephen, congratulations on a wonderful second speech. And I will tell you right now, I will be brutally honest with you right now, I believe that this second speech, in my opinion, is a lot more refined than the first one, and I really do like it. And I think from my personal opinion, is I recommend you move forward with this speech at the semifinals. At the semifinals of the World Championship of Steve. I'll tell you what I liked right away. I loved when you came on the stage, you had this big, massive, exaggerated, beautiful flower on your shirt or on your jacket. Now, I knew right away that had something to do with the speech because it wasn't one of those nice ones you would wear at the prom. It was bigger and more beautiful. And then when you lift it up and you called and you used the flower as a metaphor for life. Precious, beautiful, and what was the third one? So full of possibilities. And so full of possibilities. And you said, why do we have to wait for a crisis for us to appreciate that? And you tore it, but you tore some of it. You didn't tear all of it. And then you put it back and you left it for the remainder of the speech. So everybody could see that there was a little bit of damage done to the flower, but it was still there. But then at the end, when you told us the story of your brother, that was the point of real crisis for you as an individual. Bam, there goes the whole flower. I thought that you used that as a metaphor for life. Excellent. Now the one question that I do have for you. You talked about waiting for there to be a crisis for us to appreciate things. You brought a character into the story, your brother. I don't think there was a point in the story where you mentioned that you did or didn't appreciate your brother. So that crisis happened for you. Did you appreciate him more? Did you not appreciate him before? That wasn't that clear in the story. All in all, though, Stephen, I think you did a great job with this speech. I think you should focus on this speech. This, for me, was really well structured. It's the one that I think you should move forward with. Congratulations, and we'll talk after when I have more than 3 minutes. Well done.
Stephen, here you are. I love the title. I think it's attention getting to the audience ahead of you getting on the stage. It's simple, it's short, it's clear, and it will resonate simply because second chance means something to us, but we all want one way or the other. So I think it's good there. I like the humor. It came early and it came fast and repetitive, which is excellent. You know from listening to and observing international speakers that the humor has to come both early and often. You hit the first one early and it probably was your best line, change husbands. It really was. I also like very much that you got to why does it take a crisis. The line wasn't that tremendous, it was a good line. You probably can improve it, doesn't need improvement, but it came early. It got you right out of the opening into the transition of the body, so you didn't waste any time. Judges will look to that and recognize it as your skill. The moment stood out for me was lines like flowers crushed and the actual gesture towards that. That could be extended a little bit, but it certainly is effective for that question. And also like if you want to focus, wreck your car, it was a middle of the line, but it does bring you back to what you were talking about. The repetition of unhurt, unscratched, unbuckled, and the gesture towards the driver's seat. This was reminiscent of Gamache, a speech I saw years ago out of Montreal where he was talking about his grandfather. So that gesture can be probably built on or grown or even more poignant than you've already done, but you get the message across. But it was certainly a moment in the speech without question. What's to add? If you're going to use 7 habits, you better use Covey's name. If if you don't, some judge is gonna mark you down for using something and not giving you credit, or else drop it out. But keep it in to add to the speech. I also would add something of an extension to the poignant moment of the death. It needs something to be built on before you carry it on and bridge out of that area, out of that sad moment. Overall, I see a great story, very well developed at this stage. And I didn't hear the second rendition of your district speech, so I don't know. But I think, based on my experience in being international as recently as 2012, I think you've got a real contender for your championship speech. And I thank you very much for this presentation. Thank you.
All right, for our final evaluator, I have Karen Martin.
Madam Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Stephen without the rose, there you go. Stephen, like my fellow evaluators, I really liked your confidence as you came to the stage. And always, and I've seen this, your signature is always some kind of object that becomes your theme, which weaves throughout your speech. And again, here it is with the rose crumpled on the floor. That sends such a great message to your audience because they're looking for, it's here, now what's he going to do with it? So they're watching and they're listening for that connection. I liked how you began with the intrigue, the question about the changing jobs. I was wondering, okay, where is he going to build into the theme? And then you came into the theme about life is beautiful and precious, and then into the crisis. Stories that were best. You talked about that young buck over here traveling, and there was so much enthusiasm and wildness to it, and I'm drawn to your actions and how you express. There was so much force in your voice, and then the car flipping, and things began to change. Needs to be really solemn at that point. Really solemn, because that's a crisis moment for you. You come back into that crisis voice in your second story with your brother. The pause is so effective. Do you not feel? The pause is so effective. He's building up that question with his brother. His brother's saying to him, this is what life is about. You're missing it. Then he loses that voice. The questions that were left unanswered for me, I wanted to know, how were you feeling immediately after the accident? There was a gloss through the accident. What was that moment that made you want to change? I wanted to know, you talked about your brother. Tell me a little bit more about this brother. Obviously that brother, there was a beautiful relationship with that brother. Tell me who he was in your life. Why did you listen to him? What did he mean to you? Anything that I would add, I would bring the audience into it earlier. You brought us in towards the end. Plant other moments, you do, but bring us into it more. It's all about this crisis. Have you ever experienced a crisis moment in your lives that was life-altering? You do this at the end. I'm there. Bring me in a little bit earlier. I wanted to know also, another addition, how beautiful was your life beforehand? You've got a lot of memorable moments, Stephen. You definitely have a presence on the stage. You've got this incredible message. Weave the crisis in there, bring your audience in. You'll hit that mark. Madam Chair.